Solving inequalities using multiplication and division, part 2. When you are multiplying and dividing by a negative number, that changes things. That is the third way that inequalities are different from equations. First are the inequality symbols. Second is that you have to graph inequalities. And the third is the fact that this rule right here, I'm going to read it off to you. The inequality sign reverses when multiplication and division, when you multiply and divide by a negative number. So when multiplying and dividing by a negative number, your inequality symbol changes. But let me show you why. Let's take this first inequality here. You notice that there's no variable here. I'm just using this as an example so that I can show you why the sign, the inequality symbol, would flip when multiplying or dividing by a negative number. I'm sure that we can all agree that 4 is less than 23. So what happens if I divide both sides of this inequality by a negative number? Let's just do negative 1. 4 divided by a negative 1 is a negative 4. I'm going to put the inequality symbol, the less than symbol. It's a positive 23 divided by a negative 1 is a negative 23. So let me ask you now, do you agree that negative 4 is less than negative 23? No, negative 4 is a larger number because negative 4 is closer to 0 than negative 23. Negative 23 is farther from 0. So this symbol should flip so that the inequality can remain true. When I divide by a negative number, it changes the value of the 23. The 23 went from a positive to a negative. It went from a greater number to a smaller number. Because of that, I have to flip my inequality symbol for the inequality to remain true. Let's try this one out. Y divided by a negative 4 is greater than 6. So I'm going to multiply by a negative 4, multiply by a negative 4, y, I need to flip my symbol, is less than negative 24. And then I'm going to graph it. I'm going to have an open circle at negative 24 because there's not an or equal to symbol. And I'm going to point, because y, the variable, is less, to everything that's less than negative 24, which would be to the left. Let's try this one. This is a two-step equation, so it includes addition in it. So I have to do the addition first, and then I'm going to look at dividing and multiplying next. So I have negative 21 is greater than or equal to negative 3r minus 6. So I am going to use the inverse operations to solve this. I'm going to start by, since in a two-step equation we began with addition and subtraction, this is a two-step inequality, we're going to do the same thing. Beginning with addition and subtraction, we're going to find the side that king variable is on. King variable is on the right side of the inequality. I have negative 3r minus 6. I'm going to add 6 to cancel that out. Add 6 to the left side. That leaves me with a negative 15. It's greater than or equal to negative 3r. And now, I still have to get king variable alone. How am I going to do it? Well, this is multiplication, so I'm going to divide. Because division is the inverse operation. I'm dividing by negative 3. The negative 3 cancels out, and I'm left with r. And I divide negative 15 by a negative 3, and I get 5. And I have to flip my inequality symbol because I divide it by a negative number. So it's going to become 5 is less than or equal to r, or r is greater than or equal to 5. So let's graph it on a number line. I'm going to put 5, 6, 7, 8 on the number line, and 5, 4, 3, 2 on the number line. Numbers that are greater than 5, numbers that are less than 5. I'm going to have an a closed circle because of the or equal to. So closed circle above the 5, and my arrow is going to point towards everything that's greater than 5. Since my variable is greater than 5, my arrow has to point to everything that my variable could be, which would be to the right of 5. My variable could be 5 because of the or equal to symbol, could be 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on because of the greater than symbol. So let's check our answers here. We have y is less than negative 24, so let's pick a number less than negative 24. Let's go with negative 28. And let's plug it in for y. So negative 28 divided by negative 4 is greater than 6. And negative 28 divided by negative 4 is a positive 7. So 7 is greater than 6, and that is true. So that one checks out. Let's go to this next one. For this one, we got 5 is less than or equal to r, or r is greater than or equal to 5. So remember that we're always graphing r, and we're looking to plug a number in for r. So I'm going to look on my graph, and I'm going to find a number that I said r could possibly be. R could be 6, it could be 7, it could be 8, and so on. So I'm just going to take the number 6 and plug it in for r. So negative 3 times 6 is going to give me negative 18. I'm going to write the whole thing out. So negative 18 minus 6, or plus a negative 6, is negative 24. And negative 24 is less than negative 21. Negative 21 is greater than negative 24 because negative 24 is farther to the left and negative 21 is farther to the right, closer to positives. So it checks out. I want you to try these out. Let's start with number 1. Negative 36 is less than negative 2m. Okay, I am going to begin on the side where king variable is, which is the right. Negative 2m is multiplication, so I'm going to use division. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. I'm left with m, because I divided by a negative number, I have to flip my inequality symbol. So m is going to be less than, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive 18. And then when I graph it, draw up my number line. I put 18 on my number line. I have an open circle, and I point to everything that is less than 18 because my variable is less than 18. So 17, 16, 19, 20 this way, and my arrow will point to the left. Okay, number 2. R minus 9 is greater than or equal to negative 36. I'm going to start on the side that has king variable. I'm going to add 9, and negative 36 plus 9 is going to leave us with a negative 27. So R is greater than or equal to negative 27. And I'm going to graph it. Draw up my number line. Put negative 27, negative 26, negative 28. And I'm going to have a closed circle on negative 27. And since R is greater than negative 27, I'm going to point to everything greater than negative 27. And greater than always points to the right. Number 3, I have I have 4n minus 3 is less than or equal to 12. I'm going to add 3, gives me 15. 4n is less than or equal to 15. The inverse operation here would be divide by 4. Since I'm dividing by a positive number, I know that I'm not going to flip my sign. Divide by 4. And I end with n is less than or equal to 4 into 15 goes 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. That leaves me with a difference of 3. So 3 3/4 is my answer. So n is less than or equal to 3 3/4, and I want to graph that. I'm going to put 3 3/4 right in the middle. I'm going to have a closed circle because of the or equal to sign. I'm going to have greater numbers to the right, which would be 4 and 5, less numbers to the left, 2 and 1, and I'm going to point my arrow towards everything that is less than 3 3/4. So to the left. Number 2. Okay, number 2, I am going to distribute 2. 2 times m is 2m. 2 times 4 is 8, so 2m minus 8 is greater than 12. And now I'm going to use inverse operations to solve this to get king variable ln. So this is a negative 8. I need to add 8 to cancel it. 12 plus 8 is going to give me 20. So now I have 2m is greater than 20, and I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. And I end up with m is greater than 10. And I'm going to graph that. So here's 10, 11, 12, 9, and 8 to the left. And I have an open circle above the 10. And I'm going to point to everything that is greater than 10. Let's just look at how we could have checked these. This graph right here, I could have plugged in 17 for m and to see if it works. So negative 2 times 17 is negative 34, and negative 34 is greater than negative 36. So that one checks out. And then I can pick one on this graph, negative 26. Negative 26 minus 9 or plus a negative 9 is negative 35. And so negative 35 is greater than or equal to negative 36. And that's true. So that checks out. And I can plug in n is less than or equal to 3 3/4. So I can pick something on my number line. I'm going to pick the number 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. And 5 is less than 12. So it works. And then I'm going to plug in a number here. I'm going to plug in, let's see, 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. And 16 is greater than 12. So it works.